So Graham Stephan just came out with a video on why you should not buy a house. And so I was intrigued by that title, and after I finished the video, I have to say I was a little bit disappointed, and it wasn't what I expected. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not bagging on Graham. Graham is amazing. I'm a subscriber of his, and I especially love his podcast. And if you haven't heard of it, the Iced Coffee Hour, you need to go subscribe and check it out. But in this video, I want to talk about a big opportunity that Graham missed with this video. So he makes 5 points as to why you shouldn't buy a house. We're going to dive right into those, starting with the first one, which is you haven't saved up enough money for the down payment. And when I heard that at first, I thought, well, duh, that's obvious. And that applies to any market. It doesn't just apply to right now when home prices are going up, but that applies even if home prices are going down. If you don't have enough for the down payment, yeah, you shouldn't be buying real estate. But then he mentions on a topic real quick where I was like, this is why I watched the video. He's about to hit what I came for. He says, and you also need to consider, what is the opportunity cost of that down payment? Meaning, could you make more money if you put that down payment to work elsewhere in a different type of investment? And this is what I think we all clicked on the video for, seeing, should we buy real estate right now in this market? Is it a good investment? Or is there a better opportunity elsewhere? But then he just quickly glances over that and doesn't come back to that. And I think that's one of the opportunities really missed here, is what do we do with real estate here in this day and age? Should we be buying real estate? And I'm gonna give my thoughts on that at the end of the video, but let's go on to point two. Point two was about you only factored in what your mortgage and your interest costs are, meaning you forgot to calculate your insurance and taxes. And again, I thought this was another obvious one that applies to any market, whether it's a booming market now or a crashing market. But I mean, I think most people understand that they're gonna have taxes and insurance. And in fact, when you go to buy a house and you're under contract, your loan officer or your lender is actually going to give you a sheet that tells you what your monthly payment would be, including your taxes and insurance. So there's not going to be any surprises there. And again, just because you qualify for, say, $400,000 doesn't mean you should be buying a $400,000 house. You want to buy something that you comfortably can afford. And there's plenty of calculators online that you can use that will tell you what your monthly payment will be if you buy, say, whatever price house you put in and you put X amount down. It will literally tell you what your monthly payment will be, a rough estimate, including taxes and insurance. So again, I just thought, all right, this is kind of basic, beginner level. So the third thing that he touches on is transaction costs, right? And I think while this one is basic, it was actually needed. There are a ton of YouTubers out there who tell you all you need to get into real estate is 3 to 5% down. So for example, if you want a $100,000 property, they're saying all you need is $5 grand and you're good to go. It's a little misleading because people think all they have to do is save up $5 grand when there really is closing costs, which can be another 3 to 6% down, like Graham mentions in the video. So you really don't need $5 grand, you need basically $10,000 to actually get into that property. So I think that was actually needed, but again, this is something that applies to any market. I want to know, Graham, should I be buying real estate in this market? Is there a better opportunity for my money in this market? Or is real estate still a good investment? And then step 4, he talks about you shouldn't buy a house if you're planning on moving or selling pretty soon. Look, I don't think most people buy a house with the intention of selling it within a year, unless they're investing or maybe doing a flip, but most people don't want to move every year. I mean, moving is stressful, and especially if you're buying a house. If I'm gonna move in a year and I know that's possible, I'm probably just gonna rent that year. But if I'm buying a house, my intentions are to stay longer. Now, of course, things can happen where maybe you intended to stay there for 10 years and something changed and you have to leave within a year. Of course, that happens all the time. So what I would always recommend my clients or anyone who's thinking of buying is to let them know their 2 options and say, look, I know you're planning on staying here for 5 years, but if something did happen to where you had to move within a year, you have 2 options. Number 1, you can rent the place out, or number 2, you're gonna sell it, but you might have to bring money to the table. Are you okay with renting the place out and becoming a landlord? Or the third preventative measure is to buy a good deal, buy something that's below market value, maybe a fixer-upper, something you gotta put some money into it or fix it up yourself. And that way, even if you do have to sell the property within 6 months or a year, you're gonna break even, maybe even make a profit on it. In fact, that's what happened to me. I bought a property that was a fixer-upper, And because of that, I fixed it up myself. And now if I were to sell it, I haven't even owned it for a year yet. It's been like 7 months. If I were to sell it, I would actually walk away with $40K profit in my pocket after all expenses paid. And so the reason why people usually lose money if you sell it too quickly after buying it is because there are closing costs, there are expenses, transaction fees, even on the selling side. So if you buy a house for $300,000 and then you go to sell it for $300,000 after a year, you're actually going to have to come to the table with money because you have fees like realtor fees and transaction fees and closing fees. So you would actually need your property value to go up 7%, or you would need to sell it for 7% more than what you bought it for just to sort of break even. And again, like I said, the ways around that to protect yourself are, one, being okay with renting it out, or two, buying a good deal, which gives you all the options that you need. So you could still even sell it if you wanted to. And then the last option that he mentions, or the last thing that you need to consider, is have 3 to 6 months reserve in case something breaks. And I think that's good as well, because it's going back to all the people out there who are really saying, look, all you need to get into real estate is your $5,000, just your 5%, and that's it. No, you also should factor in closing costs. Yeah, you should factor in repairs. But look, with repairs, it really shouldn't be too much of a blind side. Number one, really what you need to focus on in your repairs, and that you might even want to have another inspection on, is the main systems: your roof, your AC, your water heater, your fridge, your washer and dryer. Cosmetic stuff, not that big of a deal, right? If your paint's chipping outside and you don't have the money to fix that right now, it's not going to kill you if you don't get it fixed tomorrow. You can wait 6 months or even a year to save up the money to do that. Sure, your neighbors will hate you in the meantime, but it's not going to change your daily life. Now, if your AC goes out, yeah, you got to get that fixed ASAP. There's no waiting on that. So yeah, you want to make sure you have money for that. But look, when you get the inspection done, you should have an idea. You should go in kind of knowing, all right, the roof is brand new. I'm probably not going to have any issues with that. And the inspector said it looks good. The AC is pretty old. I might need to replace the AC. It's working fine, but hey, it could go at any moment. Let me make sure I have enough money to replace the AC. Just things like that, kind of having a good idea of what needs to be replaced and what doesn't. And I always, in fact, recommend, look, if you're getting that good deal, a good deal is something that has a good, new, and working units and systems. Roof, AC, water heater, washer, dryer, fridge, if they come with the place. And then ugly cosmetics. That's what makes a good deal. Now, just like Graham's saying, you should still have at least some money set aside in case one of the systems go. Because on my place, it actually happened here. I had only a 3-year-old roof, and the roof lasts much longer than that. So didn't expect really anything to come about it, but I actually had a roof leak. And I just patched it up, and it only cost me $75 just to get it patched. That comes with negotiating, knowing the right handyman. Maybe your realtor hopefully has those people in their pocket that they can share with you. But anyways, yeah, there is an extra $75 that I didn't expect I would have to spend. There has been multiple other expenses that, oh, I didn't expect this would come up and I had to spend this because this broke. But they haven't been catastrophic, like, oh my gosh, I had to replace my roof. I mean, the roof is only 3 years old. You're not going to have to replace a 3-year-old roof. Something might happen where you've got a leak and maybe you got to repair or seal up that leak, and maybe you have to spend a couple $100 here and there. But nothing's going to be catastrophic to where you're having to spend 10 grand without you kind of at least having a hint or idea about it. But anyways, let's get into where Graham missed. What's that opportunity cost, right? Should we be buying real estate now? That's why I clicked on the video. That's what I thought he was going to talk about. Not just generically, should you buy real estate ever? I think everything that he said is totally correct in regards to considering to buy real estate. Absolutely. But I want to know, should you be buying real estate now? Are prices too high? Are they going to come down? Or can it still be an investment? Is there more room to run? Look, I think the other best place to probably put your money would be stocks for the average person. Put your money in stocks or real estate, and really that can come up to either side. I mean, no one knows what's going to happen. Like, I'm looking at the real estate market, I'm looking at stocks. I can't predict when it's going to crash. I can look at some key indicators. Like, I know if interest rates go up, that will definitely affect prices. We will see prices come down. But we can also see when we expect that to happen, and the Federal Reserve is telling us, look, that's not going to happen for another 3-4 years. Real estate market is still really hot. Supply is getting constricted even more and more each month that I'm seeing. But look, real estate's different in each area. It really matters on your area. One area can be going up in this hot market, like most are, but there can be other cities that are actually experience a decline, like New York City was for a while. So it really depends on your local market, and it's hard to really know. It really is. I mean, stocks look good too. I mean, we have 25% more money out there than we ever had before this pandemic. So it kind of makes sense why everything's gone up. Interest rates are down. We now are okay with getting a lower return in the stock market because there's a lower return everywhere else in bonds and everything. So that's why more money is going into stocks, trying to chase that same level of return before. And we just don't know what's going to happen. So really, a couple things to consider when investing in real estate is not always that maybe real estate's going to give you the higher return, but it's to consider the opportunities that real estate also gives you. And so let me give you an example. If we look at Meet Kevin, somebody who literally went from a small stock portfolio to over 20 million in the matter of a year during the pandemic, where did he get the money to do that? Sure, yeah, he's blown up on his YouTube and now he's making all kinds of ad revenue, and that's helping. But how did he have the money to invest at the beginning of the pandemic when prices were at their lowest point, before he had even close to 1 million subscribers, when he was just starting all of the stimulus videos and it was just starting to gain traction, but he wasn't breaking in the dough yet? Well, what he did was he had all of his real estate properties refinanced, took that money and bought stocks at the lowest price. So real estate can be used as a tool to help you buy more investments, right? So if you're buying real estate as an investment, I think it can still be a good opportunity now. And what I mean by that, buying as an investment, meaning you're going to buy something that's below market value, right? So that's going to protect you if you do need to sell within a year or a short term. And it's going to help you when you buy something below market value. You can right away maybe refinance it, or you can go get a home equity line of credit and use that money to then go buy more real estate, or to use that money and go buy stocks like Kevin did. For example, for me, by buying this place, I was actually able to take mortgage forbearance. And so now I'm in the best of both worlds, because let's go back. Let's say I didn't use my money to buy this and I would have just bought stocks. I probably would have made just about the same amount of money, but without any of the work, the stress, the hassle of fixing this place up. But by buying this place, I was able to take mortgage forbearance because it came out that program. And now I'm able to take all of my monthly mortgage payments and put that into stocks. If I would have just bought stocks, I wouldn't have been able to buy real estate too, unless I sold those stocks and used it to buy real estate. But now I'm able to have the best of both worlds. I literally can have 50K in real estate, and then I can also create another 50K in stocks because I'm able to take my mortgage payments and dump them into there. So real estate can create opportunities like that. But like I said, if you're just not open to buying a good deal, or you're not okay with renting it out, maybe you shouldn't buy right now. I agree with that. And if you can't comfortably afford the mortgage payment and renting is cheaper, I would probably just stay renting. And especially if you prefer stocks and you don't want to kind of put in the necessary physical work that real estate entails. But look, if you're not going to invest that money that you have into stocks and you're just going to keep it in cash, then you should buy real estate. And look, I'm not like that barber who's going to always tell you that you need a haircut. Even though I am a real estate agent, I'm telling you the scenarios where I wouldn't buy a house. And in fact, even though I'm a real estate agent, I actually wouldn't recommend selling ever. I always prefer to rent out the property and then just build your wealth that way. That's what I would do myself, and that's what I would tell my clients. I say, look, have you considered renting the property out first? So those are the ways that I look at real estate and how it can still be a good investment even today, but you need to look at it as an investment and just weigh out the potential risks and the opportunity costs of where you could put that money to work elsewhere. So I hope this video helps, guys. And again, not bagging on Graham, I love his videos. And if you don't already subscribe to his channel, definitely check him out.